Before anything else, I need to warn you. What I'm about to reveal may change your perception of reality forever. But be careful. There's a reason why this has been hidden from the world. Most people have never realized this secret. Some have caught glimpses of it but failed to understand what it truly meant. Others, when they got too close, simply ignored the signs. And so, they went on with their lives as if nothing had happened. But if you're here, watching this video right now, it might mean that this truth is trying to reach you. Maybe something deep inside you already knows that there's a hidden code operating behind everything, waiting to be deciphered. Now I want you to take a test. Close your eyes for 5 seconds. Take a deep breath. And mentally repeat this phrase. I am ready to awaken. Now tell me something. Have you ever felt like something unexplainable was trying to communicate with you, but you just couldn't understand? Have you ever had a dream so vivid that it felt like a warning? Or have you ever felt a sudden chill, as if something invisible was around you? Maybe you've sensed that certain moments in your life were beyond your control, that some things just happen, as if they were predestined. Have you ever stopped to wonder why this happens? Have you questioned why some people seem to be guided by something greater while others wander through life lost and without direction? The truth is, these experiences don't happen by chance. There's a hidden connection between you and something far greater, something that only a few people ever come to realize. Most ignore the signs, dismissing them as coincidences. But the chosen ones, they know there's something more. And here's something even more intriguing. There is a key, a forgotten code, that can unlock this connection. A pattern hidden within the very structure of reality. Something that, when repeated, completely shifts how your mind perceives the world around you. But why was this hidden? Who concealed it? And more importantly, what happens when you discover this secret? Ancient civilizations knew about this. The great sages of the past understood that certain words and certain numbers activate hidden parts of the human mind. The ancient Egyptians, the Tibetan masters, the great Kabbalistic initiates, they all used this knowledge. But somehow this truth was erased from history. Could it have been intentional? Many believe so. That hidden forces have worked for centuries to keep this information away from the masses. That those who hold true power have always sought to keep humanity in a state of ignorance and limitation. But here's something few people know. There have been moments in history when this knowledge resurfaced. Moments when certain individuals, for reasons unknown, felt compelled to seek something greater. And those who discovered this secret were never the same again. And now, you are about to become one of those people. Because in this video, I'm going to show you what really happens when you repeat certain words at a specific frequency. I'm going to reveal what the great masters of humanity have always known, and what happens when you put this knowledge into practice. But before we go any further, I want you to do something else. Try to remember. Have you ever had the feeling that something was about to happen, as if an unseen force in the universe was trying to send you a message? If you've experienced this before, keep watching, because today you're going to understand the real reason behind these sensations. But if you've never felt anything, then this video might be even more important for you than you realize. For thousands of years, there have been accounts of people who awakened to something far beyond ordinary reality. People who in some way seemed to see what others couldn't. They felt, sensed, and even knew things before they happened. Some were called visionaries, prophets, sages. Others were labeled as madmen, heretics, threats to the system. But there was one thing they all had in common, a secret knowledge that set them apart. The truth is, these people were not ordinary. They carried within them a power that most could never even imagine exists. But this power was always hidden from humanity. Why? Because those who control information control reality, and those who discovered this secret in the past realized that if too many people knew about it, the world would never be the same again. Imagine for a moment that the society we live in was built upon an illusion, that everything you've been taught about your mind, your potential, and your existence is just a small fraction of what is truly possible, and that, at some point in history, this knowledge was deliberately erased, replaced by dogmas, control systems, and distractions designed to keep humanity in a state of limitation. But the chosen ones, they have always felt an inner calling, something that never allowed them to conform to the imposed reality. Have you ever felt this way? As if you don't quite belong in this world the way it is? As if there's something greater, something you need to remember but it's always just out of reach? This is no coincidence. There is a reason why you are here right now. There is a reason why certain people never fit into what they call normal life. They feel that something is wrong, but they can't explain what. Some spend their entire lives searching for answers, while others simply ignore this feeling and follow the path that was programmed for them. But there is something even deeper within this mystery. The ancients knew that the minds of the chosen ones operate on a different frequency. They knew that a certain part of the brain, when activated, allows access to information beyond time and space. The priests of Egypt knew this. The Tibetan masters practiced it. The initiates of Kabbalah mastered this secret. But if this truth is so powerful, why has it never reached you? The answer may be unsettling. You were taught to forget. Humanity has been conditioned to believe that the physical world is all that exists, that you are just an ordinary human being with no real power over your own reality. But nothing could be further from the truth. What if I told you that there is a way to access this power once again? That this knowledge never truly disappeared. It was simply hidden, waiting for the right people to bring it back? Now pay close attention. For centuries, only a select few have had access to this information. But those who did changed the course of human history. Think about the great masters, the visionary geniuses, the people who defied all odds and became something beyond what anyone expected. Did this happen by chance? Or did they discover something that most people never knew? And the most important question of all, if you had access to this very secret, what would you do with it? What happens when someone uncovers this hidden truth? You're about to find out. Have you ever had the feeling that you were meant to be somewhere else? That your life was heading in the wrong direction? That somehow there was a misalignment between what you feel inside and the reality you live? And if this has happened to you, know that it is not a coincidence. There is a reason for this feeling, and more than that, there is a reason why so many people are trapped in this same limited reality. The truth is, most people never realize they are trapped. They wake up every day, follow the same routines, live the same frustrations, and simply accept that life is this way. They believe their thoughts are just reflections of the outside world, that their desires are just distant dreams, and that circumstances define who they are. But this is the fatal mistake. The greatest mistake people make is living trapped in the wrong mental state, without knowing how to awaken. And those who control this programming never wanted you to find out. Because if you knew this, you wouldn't just change your life, you would change everything around you. But what if I told you that there is a shortcut to undo this mistake? Something so simple, yet so powerful, that it can reprogram your mind in minutes? And the answer lies in something that has been hidden from humanity for centuries, but that you are about to learn right now. Since the most ancient times, certain numbers have carried hidden meanings, energies that influence reality in ways most people never realize. Among these numbers, one stands out as a forgotten code, a point of connection between the human mind and something far greater. That number is 6. Have you ever stopped to wonder why the number 6 appears repeatedly in various spiritual traditions? This is no coincidence. Ancient civilizations knew that reality was not just matter, but also vibration and frequency. Some frequencies had the power to open portals, transform consciousness, and alter the course of life for those who knew how to use them. In ancient Egypt, priests spoke of the hidden power of the hexagram, a sacred figure symbolizing the fusion of the divine and the earthly. To them, the number 6 represented balance and the key to accessing higher dimensions. Hindus used the Shatkona, a 6-pointed symbol representing the union between the spiritual and the physical. In Jewish tradition, the Star of David, also based on the hexagram, was considered a symbol of protection and connection with the Creator. But what makes the number 6 so special? The answer lies in the very structure of the universe. Sacred geometry reveals that the hexagon is one of the most perfect shapes in nature. It appears in the molecular structure of carbon, in the honeycombs of bees, and even in crystalline formations. This pattern repeats itself in human DNA, in the organization of galaxies, and even in the vibrations of certain sound waves. The ancients didn't just believe that the number 6 was special. They witnessed this pattern embedded in the very fabric of creation. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. Nikola Tesla, one of history's greatest geniuses, claimed that those who understood the secrets of the numbers 3, 6, and 9 would unlock the mysteries of the universe. Tesla knew that reality responded to vibrational patterns. and that the number 6 in particular had a profound impact on the human mind. But what if I told you that this number not only appears in the structure of the universe, but can also be used to alter your state of consciousness? Tibetan monks chant specific mantras exactly 6 times to reach higher states of awareness. Some ancient civilizations performed rituals by repeating words and sounds in multiples of 6 to open spiritual portals. Even the Bible repeatedly references the number 6 in passages about creation and transformation. But here's something few people know. NASA has discovered that certain sound frequencies in multiples of 6 can alter brain activity. Neuroscience research shows that repetition patterns in specific frequencies can induce altered states of perception. This means that if the number 6 truly holds a hidden power, then using it correctly could do something incredible. It could be a shortcut to activating dormant parts of the mind. And what if I told you that there is a specific way to use this number to access hidden parts of your consciousness? Something that was taught only to a select few, because that's exactly what you are about to discover. Throughout history, there have been accounts of people who stumbled upon something extraordinary, something so simple, yet so powerful, that it defied common logic. They realized that certain words, when repeated 6 times, activated something within them, like an unseen key turning, suddenly making the world around them respond in a completely different way. Does this sound impossible? Then listen to this. In the 1960s, scientists began studying the effects of repeating words and sounds on the human mind. What they discovered was astonishing. The brain doesn't just record the words we say, it responds to them in a deep and profound way. Certain repetition patterns generate specific brainwave frequencies, which can alter emotional states and even shift perception of reality. But what's even more surprising is that many ancient cultures already knew this. Tibetan monks chanted mantras exactly 6 times before entering deep meditation. In Egypt, priests repeated sacred formulas in cycles of 6 to access what they called the hidden doors of consciousness. In esoteric Christianity, there are records of prayers being repeated 6 times to achieve intense spiritual connection. And what about modern-day accounts? This is where things get even stranger. People who have tried this technique started reporting unexplainable phenomena. Some said they had incredibly vivid dreams the very first night. Others described feeling an instant emotional shift, as if something had been unlocked within them. But the most intriguing part? Many of these people noticed that right after practicing this technique, strange coincidences started happening. Some received unexpected messages. Others found answers they had been seeking for years. Could this just be a trick of the mind? Or is reality actually reshaping itself according to the frequency we emit? One of the most intriguing cases involved a man who, after repeating a specific phrase 6 times before sleeping, woke up the next morning with a strong intuition that he should take a different route to work. Without understanding why, he changed his usual path. When he arrived at his office, he discovered that on that very day, a serious accident had occurred on the route he typically took. Another case involved a woman who, after performing the technique before bed, started having dreams so vivid that when she woke up, she knew exactly what decisions to make to solve a problem that had troubled her for years. Coincidence? Maybe. But what if the repetition of the number 6 is actually a command that aligns your mind with something much greater? What if I told you that this practice has been secretly used for centuries to access higher states of consciousness? In the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly how to do it. But pay attention. This practice is not for everyone. Some people report unexpected effects when they try it. If you choose to continue, be prepared. For centuries, this knowledge has been lost, hidden, and even ridiculed. But those who found this secret and put it into practice were never the same again. And now, it's your turn. If you are ready to access something that has remained hidden for generations, you must follow this ritual exactly as it was taught by the chosen ones of the past. Do not modify anything. Do not skip any steps. Just follow the instructions and see what happens. Before you begin, you need to prepare both your environment and your mind. This ritual should not be done in a hurry or with distractions. Choose a quiet place where no one will interrupt you. Ideally, perform this at night, when energies are more subtle and the mind is more receptive. Now, turn off any electronic devices that might distract you. Close the door. Dim the lights or leave only a soft glow. Sit comfortably, keeping your spine straight but relaxed. Rest your hands on your legs and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Feel the air slowly filling your lungs and flowing through your entire body. With each breath, imagine all distractions and external noises fading away. It's as if, for a few moments, time is slowing down and everything around you is becoming silent. Now, imagine that you are preparing for a deep connection with the universe. Visualize yourself in a sacred place, a space where nothing can interrupt you. It might be an ancient temple, a quiet forest, or a circle of light in the middle of darkness. This is your personal portal. Only you have access to it. Now, the most important part, the words you are about to say. Only those who do this correctly will be able to experience the effects. Before you begin, understand this. The vibration of the words is what activates the process. It is not enough to just repeat them mechanically. You must feel each word as if it is already real. You are going to repeat the following phrase 6 times with total focus. I am ready to receive what has always been mine. Say it the first time, allowing the vibration to resonate within you. The second time, feel yourself opening up to something greater. The third time, imagine your mind aligning with a new path. The fourth time, visualize the energy around you starting to shift. The fifth time, feel as if the universe is listening to you. And on the 6th and final repetition, accept it. Now, remain in silence for a few moments. The practice is complete. Some people report feeling a different kind of lightness in their bodies right after finishing. Others say they notice unusual signs throughout the day. But there is one very important thing to remember. The effect is not always immediate. Sometimes it happens in dreams, through subtle messages or unexpected changes in your reality. Pay attention to synchronicities. You might start seeing repeated numbers everywhere, unexpectedly meet someone you haven't seen in years, or receive a message that seems to answer exactly what you've been wondering about. Dreams can also serve as a channel for these responses. Many people report that in the nights following the ritual, they dream of symbols, phrases, or even people bringing hidden messages. But there is an important warning. Now that you've activated this frequency, the answers will begin to appear. But be careful. Not everyone is prepared for what might happen next. If signs start to appear, do not ignore them. If your intuition becomes stronger, listen to it. What you just did is not just a mental exercise. It is a call to something greater. And now the next step is entirely up to you. Something happens the moment you complete this ritual. For some, the signs start subtly. A shiver down the spine, a sudden warmth in the hands, or an intense silence in the room, as if the entire world had paused for an instant. But for others, the effects are much stronger. And here's what no one ever told you. There are reports of people who, right after performing this practice, felt invisible presences around them. Some described a shift in the atmosphere as if they were being watched. Others reported hearing distant whispers, sounds that seemed to come from nowhere. But the most astonishing reports come from those who, upon opening their eyes, noticed shadows in the corners of the room, shapes that weren't there before, silhouettes that seemed to disappear the moment they were noticed. This may sound unsettling, but there's something you need to understand. These manifestations don't happen by chance. They are not hallucinations, and they are definitely not coincidences. When you repeat this phrase 6 times, something inside you shifts. Your energetic frequency changes, and for a brief moment, you become visible to something that has always been there, but that most people never perceive. So here's the big question. What exactly is happening? Since ancient times, spiritual masters and initiates have known that our reality is not fixed. There are invisible layers all around us, dimensions that intertwine with ours but can only be accessed by those who understand how to alter their vibration. The number 6, when repeated in the right way, acts as a key. It does not just reprogram your mind, it opens a vibrational portal. For a brief moment, it's as if you are synchronizing with something beyond the ordinary world. Tibetan monks have reported that, after chanting certain mantras, they felt their bodies become weightless, almost as if they were floating. Egyptian initiates believed that repeating sacred words allowed them to communicate with intelligences beyond the physical realm. But why does this happen? The answer may lie in what modern science calls brain resonance frequencies. Studies have shown that specific sound frequencies can alter brain activity, placing it in a state where perception of reality expands. This means that what you felt was not imagination. But here's what matters most. Many people, upon noticing these phenomena, feel fear. They try to rationalize it, convincing themselves it was just their mind playing tricks on them. But those who ignore the signs miss out on something much greater. Because here's the secret: these presences are not here to scare you. They are here because they have noticed your awakening, and now they want to know if you are ready to go even deeper. Some people report that after performing this ritual, time itself starts behaving strangely. Clocks stop for a few seconds. Lights flicker for no reason. Objects shift position slightly, as if someone moved them when no one was around. And there's something even more intriguing. Some people claim that, in the days following the ritual, they started seeing something different in the eyes of those around them, as if they could sense hidden intentions, as if somehow they had received a new perception, a heightened sensitivity. This could happen to you. And if it does, do not ignore it. You can choose to close your eyes and pretend nothing has changed. You can convince yourself it was just a random experience, nothing more. But if you take that path, understand this: the opportunity may not come again, because once this door has been opened, you will never be the same again. Now that you have activated this frequency, the answers will begin to appear, but be cautious. Not everyone is ready for what may come next. If signs begin to show up, do not ignore them. If your intuition becomes stronger, listen to it. What you just did is not just a mental exercise. It is a call to something greater. And if you have already started to notice something different since you began watching this video, then it may already be too late to turn back. After performing this practice, something within you begins to change. For some, the transformation is immediate. For others, the effects emerge subtly, almost imperceptibly at first. But one thing is certain: no one leaves this experience the same as they entered. You might begin to notice an increased sensitivity to energy. Places that once seemed ordinary may now feel heavy. People who were part of your daily life may start to seem strange. And your intuition, it will become stronger than ever. Many people report experiencing a deep inner silence, as if something inside their mind has been switched off. The constant repetitive thoughts begin to fade, replaced by a clarity that was never there before. But there are even more intriguing reports. Some people claim they started seeing repeated numbers everywhere, on clocks, license plates, random documents, as if the universe itself was trying to send a message. Others noticed sudden shifts in how people around them behaved. Some relationships became deeper, while others simply disappeared, as if they had never truly made sense in the first place. And then comes the most unexpected part. There are those who claim that, in the days following the ritual, they began having incredibly vivid dreams that felt more real than waking life. Some of these people said that, in those dreams, they received direct messages, answers to questions they had never even spoken out loud. Others saw visions, images of places they had never visited yet somehow felt strangely familiar. But there's one detail that few ever mention. There are reports of people who, after this experience, began to feel a presence around them. Not something threatening, but rather as if something was watching over them, observing their movements. Some describe this presence as an invisible protection. Others feel as if they have been activated for something greater, but they still don't know what. And then, there's one final effect that may take you by surprise. Some people notice that certain desires, goals, and even dreams that once seemed so important suddenly start to lose meaning. Things that once felt essential now seem irrelevant. It's as if the path itself is shifting right before your eyes. Others report a temporary disconnection from reality, as if, for brief moments throughout the day, they felt outside of time, as if their mind was expanding beyond what their eyes could see. And then, there's an even more mysterious account. Some people say that after performing this practice, they began to notice that their words became more powerful. Small desires that once took months to manifest began to unfold rapidly. They would think of someone, and just hours later that person would send them a message. They would seek an answer, and suddenly, it would appear in a random conversation. But here's the most important detail. Once this change begins, there is no turning back. If you've started noticing these signs, then you're already on the path. And the most important thing? Once these signs start appearing, they never stop. The question is, are you ready to handle it? There is something about this technique that no one ever told you. Something that could completely change the way you see everything that has happened until now. If you've made it this far, then you've already felt something shifting within you. But what you may not realize is that this practice is not just a mental exercise or a simple repetition of words. It is a trigger, a hidden command that, once activated, cannot be undone. What you did was not just repeat a phrase, you sent a signal. You opened a door, and now, something is responding. There are ancient records that speak of this, texts that were hidden from the public, kept only among those who understood the true impact of this knowledge. Because what was discovered is that this technique, when performed correctly, doesn't just change your mind, it changes the way reality responds to you. Now you must be wondering, what does this mean in practice? It means that, from this moment on, what once seemed like coincidence will start to become a pattern. The things you once ignored will begin to stand out. Small signs, words spoken by strangers, repeated numbers and situations will become impossible to overlook. But there is something even more serious. In all the documented accounts of this practice, one thing became clear. Those who do this face a moment of choice. Because now you have two options. The first is to pretend nothing happened. Try to go back to your normal routine. Ignore the signs. Dismiss this experience as something meaningless. But know this. Those who tried to turn back felt something strange. A discomfort. A feeling that something was incomplete. As if they had awakened to a path but refused to follow it. Some people reported that, upon trying to ignore the signs, they began to have disturbing dreams. They found it harder to fit into their old life, as if something was constantly calling them back. The second option is to accept what has happened, to embrace this new perception, and understand that you did not receive this information by chance, that perhaps you have reached this moment because you always knew there was something greater waiting for you. And here's the most important detail. Ancient texts describe that those who truly activated this technique began to experience profound changes, not just in their lives, but in their very thought patterns. Suddenly, truths that were once invisible became clear. They saw hidden intentions in people's words, felt emotions before they were expressed, and could predict certain events with unsettling accuracy. And the most incredible part? These records indicate that this change was irreversible. Now, you must decide. Will you continue on the path you are on, or will you activate this power once and for all? But if you choose to activate it, you must be ready. Because from this point on, there is no turning back. And if you have already felt something different since watching this video, then maybe the decision has already been made for you. By now, you already understand that what has been revealed here is not just another piece of random information. This is not something you can simply forget or ignore. From the very beginning, something inside you already knew that a hidden truth was waiting to be uncovered. What has been shared here is not widely available. You don't learn this in school. This isn't in ordinary books or casual conversations, because only a few are truly ready to understand it. And now, you are part of this small group. Most people live trapped in a world where everything seems fixed, unchangeable. They believe their thoughts don't matter, their words have no power, and their destiny is already written. But now you know that isn't true. Now you understand that reality is not solid. It responds to your vibration, your words, your intentions. And most importantly, you have always had this power within you. From the moment you were born, they tried to make you forget who you truly are. They conditioned you to ignore your intuition, to doubt your own calling. But now this memory is returning. You can no longer pretend you don't know. And here is the final secret they never told you. The answer was never outside of you. It was always inside. You don't need anything external to activate this power. It was always there. This method, this practice, this sequence of words, all of it was just a way to unlock what was already yours. The ancients knew this. That's why this knowledge was hidden. It was erased from texts, distorted in stories, and ridiculed so that only a few would dare to access it. But now, it has resurfaced. And the truth is, those who know never remain the same. Maybe you already feel something different. Maybe your perception has already shifted without you realizing it. Maybe right now, as you hear these words, something inside you has already awakened. And now there is only one question left. What are you going to do with this? Because the decision is no longer yours. If this truth has already entered your mind, then the awakening has already begun. If you have made it this far, something has already started to change within you. Maybe you've noticed small signs, a new way of seeing the world, a thought that didn't exist before, but now seems impossible to ignore. And now, you are at a decisive moment. You can try to forget what you've heard, go back to your routine, convince yourself that this was just another video, but deep down you know it wasn't, because once this truth enters your mind, it cannot be erased. And here's what you need to understand. It was not an accident that you found this message. Maybe it was just a click. Maybe it was an algorithm recommendation. But was it really just that? Or was this message always meant to find you? Because if this truth reached you, it's because something inside you was already ready to hear it. You can feel it. The world will never be the same for you. Now you have a choice. You can move on. Let this knowledge fade away. Try to ignore the signs that will inevitably begin to appear, or you can accept what has happened. And if it has reached you, then it was time. And if it was time, then you have a role to play. The question is, are you ready to embrace it?